Well, hello everyone. Hope everybody's good tonight. I hope you all had a good New Year's. I believe it's 2024 now. But anyway, tonight we're going to bread a haddock, fry it in the deep fryer, and have some homemade French fries with it. And some of the French fries, I did up a batter and wanted to try some of them. Let me just show you what some of them look like before we get on to the fish. These here I did in the batter, and I'll show you how I made those. And they're really, really good French fries that way. Okay? See that? And these are just other homemade French fries I've done in big shapes and stuff, the way everybody likes them. Okay. Well, I had an Old Bay seasoning, but I couldn't find it. So if you don't have Old Bay seasoning, you get about 3 tablespoons of this, and you just put it in a little jar like I did. A tablespoon of celery salt, 2 teaspoons of ground bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1½ teaspoons of black pepper, a teaspoon of ground mustard, and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, and also a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And then a pinch each of nutmeg, cinnamon, and ginger. Okay, that's how you make the Old Bay seasoning. And it's really good on your seafood and everything. But like I said, I used it in this batter I made, and I just put everything in this bag. And in this bag I have 1½ cups of flour, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and then a teaspoon, like I said, if you don't have the Old Bay seasoning, you can make your own, like I just told you. You want a teaspoon of that, and 1½ cups of warm water. Okay, I mixed everything instead of using a bowl. I mixed everything in a Ziploc bag really good. And then I just threw in some steak fries. And it's a really, really, really good batter if you want to try your homemade French fries like that, instead of just, you know, the regular way. All right, now let's get on to our fish, okay? This time, I showed you before how to do it with the carbonated club soda beverage. This time I'm making a beer batter, all right? So what you want to do first is put 1 cup of flour in your bowl, 1½ cups of cornstarch, because that cornstarch is what's really going to make it really nice, light and crispy on the outside, light inside. Okay, whisk that up a little bit, and then we're going to use 4 teaspoons of paprika, and also I'm going to use 8 teaspoons of garlic powder, because I'm doing this for like a little over 3 pounds of haddock. And I cut my haddock into like 4-ounce pieces, all right? And then we're going to use 6 teaspoons of kosher salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay? And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 8 teaspoons of baking powder. All right. Whisk that all up really good. Okay, the only thing we have to do now is, at the last minute, you're getting ready to do your fishes, or to get ready to do your fish, is you want to add 6 cups of beer. I used, don't really drink beer, but I use it for when I do fish. Coors Light. All right. Now we can add the 6 cups of beer. I think maybe I should have gotten a bigger bowl. Well, maybe if I go easy, we'll be all right. Whoops, and then again, maybe not. let me get a bigger bowl. Hold on a second. Okay, no more spills. I know this one's going to be big enough. All right, let me just dump it into this bigger bowl. Well, that happens. Make sure I get everything out. Let me just clean up this mess a little bit. I really hate messes. All right. Okay, let's bring this big bowl over. I'm going to dump the rest of the beer into this one because I want to make sure I get everything out of this bowl. So make sure you use a big enough bowl to begin with. All right. There we go. Okay, and then just whisk that up really good. And see how the consistency is of it. Because you want it thick enough, almost like a pancake batter. If you need to, you can add a little bit more flour. Let's see how that's looking. See, I'm just used to throwing everything in, but I'm trying to give you all measurements, but we're almost there. Okay, I like it just a little bit thicker because you want to make sure it sticks. Let's just do my own measurement, and I'll tell you about how much flour total I used. But it was 1.5 cups of the cornstarch. And I would say right now I've got a total of 3 cups of flour in here. Stir that around good. We're just about there. All right, so you figure about 3.5, 4 cups of flour besides your 1.5 cups of cornstarch, all right? All right, that looks good. And I'll show you what it looks like. Because you don't want it too thin and runny because then obviously it's not going to stick to your fish. But see? Just like that, okay? Now let me quickly go get some tongs. And this time, I'm going to put some flour in this bowl, and I'm going to lightly dredge my haddock. All right? First thing you want to do though, get your deep fryer ready and set it between 350 to 375, or if you're going to do it in a cast iron pan or whatever on the stove, all right? Just make sure, from last time I told you, don't overcrowd the fish. And if you get your oil too hot, you don't want to go higher than 375 because you get it too hot. What's going to happen, the outside's going to cook, but the inside isn't going to be cooked. It's going to be raw. And obviously, if you don't have your oil at a high enough temperature, then the fish is going to absorb all that grease and become really greasy, all right? And so you want to make sure you pat dry your fish. Like I said, these are about 4-ounce pieces, all right? And I'm going to lightly dredge it in flour first before I put it in the batter because it's going to help the batter to adhere to the fish, okay? And do you remember what I told you last time, that if you use the basket in your deep fryer so the fish doesn't stick to your basket, you're going to gently, when you put it into the oil, you want to just start putting it in slowly like that and wait till it starts lifting up and rising, and then just lower more of it in and more, and it'll keep rising up and more, and that way it'll never stick to your basket. All right, that's a little trick I learned along the way. All right, let me get this coated. And it doesn't take long to cook it, and you'll know it's done because it'll start, for one, get nice golden brown, and it'll start floating. Okay, now remember what I said, if you use a basket, just gently put it in slowly, little by little, and that way it'll stay up towards the top and it won't even sink and stick to your basket. Just like that. Okay, now let's get this other one in. Make sure you don't overcrowd it because that will also lower your temperature. Okay, you don't want to overcrowd them. All right, that looks good. And just let the excess drip off. Like I said, just start gently lowering it so it starts rising up, and then lower a little bit more in. Okay, now I'll show you the outcome. But I was going to use, if I had any leftover beer batter, I was just going to put the rest of the fries in and do it like that, but I wanted it a little bit different, you know, than the beer batter, so that's why I went with I made up the Old Bay seasoning and went that way and used the water instead of beer. But if you wanted to use beer in that, you could even use half beer and half water. Okay? Alright, she's getting there. Then you want to get a plate or something, line it with a paper towel. And you want to make sure, as soon as your fish is done, you want to make sure you salt it. Okay? Same thing with your French fries when they're done. You want to make sure you salt them as soon as they're done. Smells good. But you could use other fish. We love white fish, but you could use trout, bass. Like I said, I'm using haddock. Perch is another good one. My mother-in-law, she used to get these smelts and use the beer batter. Oh my God, those were delicious. You know, any kind of a good white fish is good. Was that one time called, Ricky, grouper?
Yeah, grouper.
Grouper, yeah.
Crappies.
Crappies. Oh, look at the nice batter on this. Oh my God, if they ever come out with smell-o-vision, I'm telling you. Now for salt, I like to use sea salt. Oh yeah. And you figure, you know, it doesn't take long to cook it. Oh, that looks really good. Okay. And then, like I said, you're going to want to salt it. Just sprinkle with the salt. Okay, now let me see if you can see it, how nice it come out. Can you see that? It's gonna be hot. Oops, hot. Let me get the camera and I can show you better. And then you can also serve it, you know, with, sorry, push the wrong button trying to get the camera down. Okay. See how the fish come out really nice? Let me show you the end of it here. Hold on. There, can you see that? How nice and flaky that is? Not very good at this, am I? There we go. Can you see that? And then I showed you the piece that I broke off. How good that looks. Okay, and then this is some cocktail sauce I made. It's just horseradish and ketchup, and then some tartar sauce, mayonnaise, and relish that we like to have it with. And some people like to have it with lemons and everything. All right, everybody, that's it. You all have a good night. Stay safe, stay warm. God bless you, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.